The PS4 was my very first PlayStation console. Today, I'm going to be talking through all 32 physical PS4 games that I own. My name is James, and I started this channel simply because I love video games. If that sounds like you, please subscribe to my channel so that you can see more videos just like this one. Let's just jump in there because we've got a lot to cover. We're just going to go through these in the order that they were on my shelf. They should be in alphabetical order, but they might not be in perfectly alphabetical order. But if you're looking for anything in particular, that'll help you kind of navigate the video a little bit. Also, because there's a lot of games here, I am going to have some timestamps and stuff too, if you want to hear me talk about a specific game. First up, Assassin's Creed, the Ezio Collection. I have quite a few collections. This is a great one. Ezio Collection includes 3 games. Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and Assassin's Creed Revelations. Brotherhood is probably my favorite Assassin's Creed game, and this is a really great collection to pick up. I think you can pretty often find this collection for anywhere from like $20, $30, $40. It's definitely worth it. You might also notice that mine is still sealed. That's because I do also own this game digitally, and I don't know what else to say. I do actually have the Platinum Trophy for all 3 of those games. Next up is Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. I'm actually not a huge fan of Black Flag, but definitely worth picking up on PS4. Unfortunately, the PS4 version of this game does have multiplayer trophies, and you can still go in and get added into the multiplayer games, but grinding out those trophies would probably take a really long time. Up next is Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered. I really like Assassin's Creed Rogue. I like that it switches up the perspective of the game a little bit, that you are going to areas that you haven't really been to before. It's also cool to get to see some of our characters from Assassin's Creed 3, but like beforehand, so probably, I don't know, 30 years before. And yeah, and I really like that they brought this game forward. Originally, when Assassin's Creed Rogue came out, it was only for PS3 and Xbox 360. The PS3 version was stranded there. So it's nice that it's playable on PS4 and PS5. Up next is Assassin's Creed Unity. This is a weird one. For a while, I would have said that Unity was my least favorite Assassin's Creed game. I don't really think that's the case anymore. I did replay it actually earlier this year, but before I started reviewing video games. And I do actually think it's a pretty good game, but for me personally, as somebody who's not very familiar with the French Revolution or French history or anything like that, it's tough to get into the historical part of it because it's just not stuff that I'm familiar with. And then as an Assassin's Creed game, they really changed up the stealth and the combat for this game. And when I played it earlier this year, I was able to be a lot more patient with it and I enjoyed it more, but kind of hard for me to get into it. Up next is Assassin's Creed Syndicate. This is one that I've actually never played on PlayStation. Just like I went back to Assassin's Creed Unity earlier this year, I would like to go back and play Syndicate again. When I played it the first time, I sort of rushed my way through it and didn't really feel like I gave it a good shot. In addition to kind of rushing my way through it, I think that I was also judging it based off of what I wanted the game to be and not what it actually was. Similar to why I didn't really care for Unity my first time playing it. Up next is Assassin's Creed Origins. Let's see. So I first played Origins on Xbox One when it came out, and I absolutely loved it. And then I felt like replaying it, and I played the PS4 version of the game on my first PlayStation 5. I beat the story, and I was going for the platinum. I had a good chunk of the collectibles, and my PS5, all of a sudden, one day, it just wouldn't boot. It just wouldn't turn on. So I sent my PlayStation 5 to Sony, and they fixed it. But I lost all of the save data that was stored on my console. And so that prevented me from getting the platinum for a while. Later on, I felt like playing the game again, and I once again went through the entire story, and then I did finally get the platinum. So I want to say I've been through Assassin's Creed Origins entirely probably about 3 times now, and I still think it is a really great game. I love Bayek, I love Egypt, and the story there. Getting to see some really cool characters there, like Julius Caesar, Cleopatra, Ptolemy. Yeah, that's a cool one. Up next is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. This one's pretty hit or miss amongst Assassin's Creed fans. I love this game. I think it is so much fun. I think that there is nothing more fun than running around Greece, being an absolute menace, and Spartan kicking people off of rooftops. And I think that's all I have to say about Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And that's our last Assassin's Creed game. Up next is Marvel Avengers. This one is tricky. There's obvious criticism to be had about this game. A lot of the online stuff was apparently really bad. I played this game when it came out, obviously on PS4, and I played pretty much just the main story, didn't bother with really any of the online stuff or any of the multiplayer or anything like that, and I had a pretty good time with it. It's not great, but I don't think it's terrible. It's definitely not the worst superhero game I've played. We don't have any other Avengers games, so this is as good as it gets. And also, since then, I think they've taken the game offline and then also made it to where all of the in-game currencies that you used to have to buy with like real money, I think you can actually earn them in-game now. So I think this game is in a better spot than ever. It might also have a free PS5 upgrade when you use your PS4 disc, but I'm not sure about that. Up next is the Batman Arkham Collection. I've actually never played these games on PlayStation. I bought the Arkham Collection as a gift for my wife when she got a PS5, which was her first PlayStation. Anyway, these games are great. Unfortunately, it does not include Arkham Origins, which I talked about earlier this year on my channel. I would like to go back and play them on PlayStation at some point and try to get the platinum trophies. I think those trophy lists are supposed to be pretty difficult, though, so I don't know if I'll really be able to do that. Up next is Concrete Genie. I want to say this game came out right around the time that I bought my PlayStation 4, and I think I might have picked it up just because it wasn't supposed to be very long, it wasn't very expensive, and it was an exclusive. I don't think it's a particularly good game. There is some fun, like, creative energy that you can get flowing by playing it, and I definitely don't regret playing it, but I don't know if I would ever be interested in playing it again. Up next is Days Gone, the motorcycle game. This one is actually super fun. I don't think this game reviewed particularly well, and I don't think people think very fondly of this game. This might even be like a top 5 PS4 game for me. Something that I don't think I've ever actually shared on my channel is that I keep Days Gone installed on my PS5 because I like probably once or twice a month to just run in and do a couple like horde challenges or the bike challenges, oftentimes like between games. This is probably the exact opposite of Concrete Genie for me, that I was kind of on the fence about this game when I played it. I had a really great time with it, and if they ever make a like Days Gone director's cut or something for PS5, I will be there day one. Up next is Death Stranding, the literal walking simulator. what is there to say about Death Stranding? You deliver packages, and you fight weird ghost things, and ink whales, and you walk across the country, and Troy Baker is there. I don't know. Death Stranding is a very strange game, but it's also a very atmospheric and relaxing game, and there's a certain element to it that I enjoy. It's a single player game, but it's still somewhat cooperative in that the entire community kind of works together to like build roads and like restore the country together. So that's great. Up next is Destroy All Humans, the 2020 remake of the PS2 game. Fun fact, I have all of the trophies for this game except for one of them. There's a trophy for getting 3 stars on all of the challenge levels, and I just can't do it. I would like to go back and try it again at some point and really kind of commit myself to like figuring it out and doing it, but I don't know. I was beaten by this game. I was beaten by some of those challenge levels. I really just couldn't do it. Up next is Detroit Become Human. This is a fun one. This is the only Quantic Dream game that I've played, and I liked it enough that I'm interested in checking out some of the other Quantic Dream games, but I'm also interested in going and replaying this game again and kind of seeing some of the storylines that I left undiscovered. I think this was one of the games that I brought up when I was talking about games that I want to replay. As far as I know, there's not a native PS5 version of this game, and I guess if they were to announce one, I would probably be there day one. Depending on scheduling, I think I would want to be there day one, but I guess it's kind of hard to say. Up next is Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. This game is not what it looks like. It is a visual novel that presents itself as just a normal, like, Japanese school dating poetry game, and then stuff just kind of starts getting weird, and then the rest of the game unravels from there. I did put in the extra time to get the platinum for this game, but who knows, maybe I'll go play it again and get the platinum for the PS4 version of the game. Up next is God of War 2018. I think it's safe to say this is my favorite PS4 game. I did not have a PS4 when that game came out. I got one that summer because I know I had one already when Spider-Man came out. As I've shared before, first time I played God of War 2018, I wasn't able to get into it. It wasn't what I was looking for. I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand the combat. I wanted it to play more like an adventure game and less like an action game, and it just didn't really resonate with me. And then I tried it again probably a year or so later, and I could not put it down. I think I played for like 10 hours a day and then ended up getting the platinum for it. Up next is Habroxia 2. This is one from our friends over at Lilymo. I think this would be their 4th game, and fun fact, the physical edition and the digital edition of this game have separate trophy lists. I'm going to do these next 2 together, Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. Horizon Zero Dawn, I want to say it was the 2nd game that I bought for PS4. I had a really great time with that first game. I thought they did a really great job of just kind of showing you little bits of information that made you want to learn more about the world and learn more about what was going on there. And they did a really great job in the game of answering a lot of those questions as well. Horizon Forbidden West came out in 2022, and I didn't care for that one as much. And I don't really know how to describe it, but it just didn't have the same intrigue and excitement as that first game for me. Up next is It Takes Two. This is a really good one. This one is fun. Unfortunately, I have not played the whole game because nobody wants to play it with me. That's not true. I got this game when it came out, and I played a tiny bit of it with my wife when it first came out, but she wasn't that big into video games at the time, so we weren't quite able to kind of get through all of the obstacles and everything. I think we probably played about a third of the game. She's a lot more well-versed in video games now, and we have actually played small chunks of It Takes Two over probably the past year, and that's one that I think would be a lot of fun for us to go ahead and finish. It has a lot of charm to it, and it's really impressive how it seems like they created entire mechanics, often to only be used for just like one level. And I've never played any of the other Hazelight games, but I do also think it's really cool how your characters will have different abilities, so you really do kind of have to work together in order to, like, you'll have one job and they'll have one job, and y'all can't like trade jobs or something unless you like trade controllers. And so I just think that's really cool. I'm going to do these next ones together. The Last of Us Remastered, The Last of Us Part 2. The Last of Us Remastered was actually the very first game that I bought for PlayStation. And it was the very first game that I played on my PlayStation 4. And then, fast forward a couple years, The Last of Us Part 2 comes out, which I really love. I've gotten the platinum for both of these games twice now. I've enjoyed all 5 of my playthroughs. Coming up next is The Last Guardian. I've never played this game. I bought this game strictly because it was a PlayStation exclusive. I think it came out in 2014, so I didn't have a PlayStation at that time. I bought it later on. I probably got it on sale or something. But yeah, I'd still like to play that game. I know a lot of people are quite fond of it, but then a lot of people also don't like it. So obviously, I'd like to play it for myself, and then I would let you guys know what I think. Next is No Man's Sky. When No Man's Sky came out, I remember it not living up to the hype that was promised, but I didn't buy it at that time. Obviously, I didn't have a PS4 at that time. I had a roommate that had it, and he played it quite a bit. I bought it after they'd fixed it. And if I'm being honest, I played probably like an hour or two, and I wasn't really getting into it. And then I came back a little while later and restarted and played like an hour or two when I wasn't really getting into it. And then I did that again. And so I do still think I'd like to try it out and see what people really like about it. My wife actually really loves that game, so I want to play it just to kind of see what everybody loves about it. Up next is PGA Tour 2K21. I'm usually not one for sports games. A couple of my buddies that I play video games with got this. We all kind of got this game at the same time to play it together. It became it became like our like weekly game. Instead of playing like Fortnite or Call of Duty or like Rocket League or something, we would just get on and play golf together, and it was ridiculous, but we would have so much fun doing it. And then I don't think there was a 2K22, but then 2K23 was a PS Plus game. So yeah, you might actually already have that in your library, and it might be worth checking out. Up next is Shadow of the Colossus. This is a remake of a PS2 game. I was actually aware of the PS2 game when it was out. I just thought it was like awesome. I don't ever remember actually playing it though. I think the first time that I would have ever actually played it was on PS4. Visually, I think it's very impressive, but it's one that I think I would enjoy more if I played it again, and then also played it again kind of knowing how to take down the specific bosses now. There's a certain clunkiness to it that they did not improve in the PS4 version. And there's also like ways to improve your, I think you can like improve your attack power and improve your like stamina and stuff, and I didn't know any of that the very first time that I played the game. So I think that playing the game again, knowing all of that stuff, and maybe even looking up where to find some of that stuff would probably make it a better experience for me. Up next is Marvel Spider-Man. This one came out in September of 2018. I want to say that Spider-Man is probably the first PS4 game that I ever pre-ordered. And as far as Spider-Man goes, I think this game is great. I love just swinging around the world. I love the collectibles. I love the little lore pieces that they sprinkle throughout the game, the side quests, the trophy list, all of it. I feel like this is a really great experience. And also shout out to Spider-Man Miles Morales, which also released on PS4. But I have it on PS5, so I'm not going to talk about it in this video. Up next is the Spyro Reignited Trilogy. So I'd played a little bit of the very first of Spyro the Dragon on PS1, which came out in 1998. I didn't have a PS1. It would have been like I played this game at my friend's house for a little bit type thing. And then when this Remastered Trilogy came out, I think I was able to get it like on sale or something, but I got it pretty cheap, and I think that Toys for Bob did an absolutely incredible job on this trilogy. Up next is Twin Breaker, a Sacred Symbols adventure. This is another one that was made by Lilymo, who I mentioned earlier. This would have been their third game, so this would have come... So this one came out between Habroxia and Habroxia 2. It's not a super complicated game. It's a brick breaker, but it's very fun to me. And there's some really cool levels where you control like 4 paddles at a time, and it's a lot of fun. It was I bought it physically just because I wanted to support Lilymo and support Sacred Symbols, but also glad that I got it. And I actually don't think I ever opened my physical copy. I know I also bought it digitally, but yeah, that's a fun one. Up next is Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection. This includes the PS3 trilogy, I think, kind of like up-resed and stuff for PS4. So Drake's Fortune, Among Thieves, and Drake's Deception. All 3 of these games are pretty fun. I would say all 3 of them are probably worth playing. Drake's Fortune didn't age as well as the 2 sequels did, but all 3 of them are playable. Uncharted 2, Among Thieves, is my favorite in the series. And I did actually go and replay these games and get the platinum trophies for Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3. I haven't done it yet for Uncharted 1. I've actually been working on that this year, but that project is on hold right now. Up next is Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. As a technical showpiece, I think Uncharted 4 is probably the best of the Uncharted games, but I don't think I like it as much as Uncharted 2. It's hard to say because I've only played Uncharted 4 once, but I've played Uncharted 2 3 times. I'd like to go back to Uncharted 4 and get the rest of the trophies and be able to get that platinum. Last one, Until Dawn. That's probably a pretty disappointing last game. They did actually just remake Until Dawn, and I don't think it runs very well. But the PS4 version of Until Dawn apparently is supposed to run very well on PS5. It's one that I would like to go and replay again. However, I think I might have said this last week. If I'm gonna go and replay one of those like narrative choice-based games, it's gonna be Detroit Become Human. I don't know how else to put it. And that's it, guys. That's all I have to say about all my games on PS4. Obviously, there's games that I own digitally that I didn't have with me to talk about. Anyway, In the comment section, let me know what your favorite PS4 games are. And until next time, the best way to keep up with me is on Twitter and on Instagram at James_Solar and on Blue Sky at jamessolar.bsky.social. Thanks, guys.